Conversation. Let's resist the temptation of the giraffes.
Hello and welcome to the conversation. I'm Hyle Russell.
Oh, is this one of those ones where I talk to the radio and you can actually hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm David Thomas Lynch.
Yeah, David, welcome back. Welcome back to the conversation for an episode you specifically requested
for some reason.
Way back when this game came out. We were chatting about like future conversation topics, what episodes various DK Vine staffers would want to be the co-host on, and you said, I want to do Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, Tokyo 2020. And
I think I called it Mario and Sonic Gentrify Tokyo for some sports ball.
Yeah, you did. Because you have to make a statement about everything, David. Everything has to get political with David Thomas Lynch over here. But I was like, we've never actually done a conversation about these. We've just brought them up from time to time on the conversation. Go back to our E3 2019 coverage and hear me boast about how I climbed Sega's rock wall so much faster than Mitchell Wolf did. And
and I actually just looked at that video and he got like a 40-second head start and he still won.
I know. Because they were like harnessing us up and they harnessed him up far faster than me. He was already up there and I was like, well, this is unfair. Like, what game genie is Mitchell Wolf using? I need to hurry it up. So I just tore that wall a new one. But
I saw those bear hikes paid off.
Yeah, when you're running from bears, it gives you all the life training you need. So we've never actually talked about these. And when you pitch this, because these games come out usually the year before the Olympics are like they're based on are set in. So, for example, the very first Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, which Donkey Kong was not in, so DK Vine doesn't cover it. That was for the 2008 Beijing Summer Games. So yeah, they've been at this for a while, and in the 2010 Winter Games, that is when Donkey Kong was first added, and it became a DKU cameo game series. So we've been avoiding this for a good hot minute. I think the novelty of this iteration of the franchise appeals to me a little bit, because here we have a game released in 2019 that was set in the 2020 Summer Games that, because of a worldwide global pandemic, didn't actually happen until the summer of 2021. So,
well, the pandemic is still going on, but we decided we're over it, so what could possibly go wrong?
There was that brief moment where we thought, hey, the pandemic's in the rearview mirror, and everybody's running out to get this vaccine. Nothing could slow it down. So,
well, it turns out some people are not running to get the vaccine for some reason.
No, they're never going to get a gold medal at those speeds. I thought it would be fun, maybe, to finally do an episode about this. And I didn't own this game until last Christmas. Last Christmas, you gave me Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, Tokyo 2020. Actually, not you, David. It was my parents. My parents, they're like, what do you want for Christmas this year?
Aren't you a little old for that?
My parents still get me a Christmas gift or two. Like, it's not like I make out a wish list, but my mom's like, hey, I want Christmas ideas. And so okay. I'm like, yeah, okay. But I am also old and I buy everything I want. Assuming, it's not like I own a home. It's not like I own a big boat. I might want those, but I can't afford them. But,
as long as you don't believe some bearded Canadian can somehow give presents to everybody and has been watching you specifically this whole time.
That's the dream, friend. That is the life right there. If we could get like a crowdfunded Santa Claus going and actually have a North Pole base and everything,
I'm sure the NSA has something.
I know, like all that technology we've stolen from the extraterrestrials over the years. We can't get a real life Santa Claus going. Bullshit. I cry foul. Anyway, this is what those billionaires need to be working on, not going just below outer space and calling it outer space and patting themselves on the back and their big penis missiles. No. Jeff Bezos could be the real world Santa Claus, but he doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want to help us. Anyway, I'm not gonna complain about Jeff Bezos on this podcast. I'm gonna complain about the IOC on this podcast. I don't know. So I asked for this because I was like, this is a game I'm going to be discussing this summer with David Thomas Lynch on my Donkey Kong podcast. And I don't really want to use Patreon money to buy it. So I'm going to get my parents to buy it for me for Christmas. So this is what I got for Christmas from my parents. It's good. It worked out. So
I paid like, $60 or however much.
Yeah. It's not worth that. Let me just say, this is going to be a full-on negative, criticism of the game, by the way. If you're tuning in to hear DK Vine bash a frivolous little sporting game with Mario and Sonic, we're not going to bash it completely. I definitely have critiques of it. But we're more going to be looking at the absurdity of it and this whole series really just existing and the weird lore implications that come up when you say, oh yeah, Donkey Kong, he competed in the Olympics. Because I have questions, David. I have so many questions and I have theories too. So it's not just me coming in empty-handed. I have a lot of feelings and thoughts about this game. First of all, though, I just want to say, if you enjoy DK Vine's Olympic coverage, if you enjoy our round-the-clock reporting from Tokyo, then please support us on Patreon, dkvine.com/Patreon. And you'll know that money won't go towards me buying Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games titles. I get my parents to do that for me. I would get Jeff Bezos as Santa Claus to do it, but he has no interest. So anyway, support us on Patreon. Check it out, dkvine.com/Patreon. You can listen to these episodes live as we record them. Want to give a shout out really quick. Jebaha. Jebaha is in the chat. John Tessier is back. And Gibbon is there, but Gibbon's also a patron, but Gibbon also works on the site. So Gibbon, I'm not counting really Gibbon. But anyway, thank you, Gibbon. Thank you, John. Thank you, Jebaha. Thank you all. So anyway, you can join them. You can be amongst friends. $5 and up. You can also get the conversation a day early, before the podcast networks get them, before YouTube gets them, before SoundCloud gets them. 24 hours in advance, you'll get the conversation.
Well, technically YouTube gets it, but you get a link early.
Yeah, so. You get a secret link, but you know what I mean. It's like using the Fast Pass in Mario Kart Tour. It's like, oh, I have this ticket. I can play this cup a day early while it's still under construction. Oh, wait, you mean all the cups are under construction? This construction thing is just a sham? Oh, that's what this is. dkvine.com/Patreon. Not the last time I want to bring up Mario Kart Tour on this podcast, because there is some linkage between this and that. And we'll get into that when we get into our continuity discussion. All right, so David, I'm always talking sports with you. I feel like a regular Joe. I feel like a man's man.
Yeah, somehow I became a resident jock.
Just sitting back, having a brewski with my buddy David as we discuss the sports ball.
I am a jock, and these are my jams. Are you all ready for this?
I think a lot of the jock jams wound up in the Donkey Konga games. I might be wrong there. Ditties was definitely a jock jam. All right, so as I made clear when we last sat down to discuss the sports ball, David, I am not a sports ball guy. I played golf with my dad I like miniature golf. I find miniature golf to be the purest form of golf. There aren't enough consequences in sports for me, right? It's all a bunch of meaningless stats and honorifics that don't carry much weight. If sports had more of a narrative to them, more lore, I would find them fascinating. But I think sports, at their base level, they are just this distilled way for grown people to celebrate the frivolous nature of childhood passions without feeling guilty about it. Before nerd culture became mainstream, sports was the only acceptable outlet as deemed by society to allow those passions to be partaken in.
Well, it's still the only one that is acceptable to cosplay in public.
Yeah.
So I was seeing people wearing jerseys, but I can't wear a Starfleet uniform.
Give it 20 years.
Don't get me started on that one time I wore nothing but a tie.
Give it 20 years. I see more and more people just dressed in cosplay in their day-to-day lives. Like, you go to the bookstore, you see people shopping the manga section, and you know, they got elf ears. They're dressed like, and you're like, cool, whatever. Like, society is changing for the better in a lot of ways. I know it doesn't feel like that, assuming we don't wind up in some Handmaid's Tale situation. Society is improving for the better. And we're all more accepting of each other's passions and desires and celebrations. So, you know, sports isn't the only outlet. I'm not disparaging anyone out there who loves sports. It's just not for me. It's not my cup of tea. But there are some sports I do take a fancy to, if they're on TV, and I'm sitting there, I will kind of get into them. And I found that I like sports that have sort of an international scope to them. So things like the World Cup, I kind of get into because I like all of these nations and countries coming together, and competing. And I like Formula One racing a bit for that reason too. It's just very international. It's basically like James Bond soaked in gasoline or petrol, as James Bond would say. So it's stuff that really shows the scope of the planet we live on. And it isn't so like insular, like here are two American cities going at it. No, I like when the world comes together for the sporting. It feels more grand to me. And as someone who loves learning about other cultures and would travel if, you know, I had the money. I don't have the money to buy a home or a boat. So I would also ask Santa Claus for tickets, plane tickets, but of course not during a worldwide pandemic because passengers are getting unruly on planes these days, if you follow the news. So anyway, the Olympics would be right up my alley, right? Like, ooh, Donkey Kong is in the Olympics? Sign me up. That's a game I want to play because the Olympics kind of fall under that purview. But I'm an American in the United States, as you are, David. And so growing up, and even to this day, the Olympics have always kind of had this tainted coverage here. And I assume this coverage happens in most countries. It's very nationalistic in the way they present the Olympics rather than all of these nations are coming together to compete with one another. It's,
oh my God, this American won a bronze medal. Well, who won the gold? Who cares? USA.
Yeah, everything is centered around the American athletes, and you never really learn about the athletes of the other countries, even if they're phenomenal. And it was just like, okay, that's great, but I want to learn about that gold medalist. I don't want to learn about this bronze medalist. They did a great job too. All superior athletes to me, I'm sure, but it's just like, yeah, I don't really root for the home team so much as more, I just want to enjoy the grand spectacle and coming together of it all. So because of that, I've always kind of shied away from watching the Olympics because, you know, it's filtered through NBC and its various networks here, has been for decades now, it feels like. And it's just, I don't like the coverage of it. And, you know, there's just a lot of things I don't like about the International Olympic Committee either, the IOC, and they're corrupt. And, you know, you get stories like the athlete Sha'Carri Richardson suspended for a month over marijuana usage. And I'm like, what? Like, come on. Like, what is going on here? And so it just, the Olympics, I think, bring out the worst in at least Americans.
and of course, they spend so much money like building all these new stadiums that they end up like bankrupting the whole city.
They decimate a lot of these areas that they come into. Yeah. And then, you know, like, it's just, we could just spend the whole podcast complaining about the dark side of the Olympics. But, you know, if you detach yourself from the reality and you go more into the aspirational, what they're supposed to represent, sure, you know, give me a fictionalized version of the Olympics and I would probably be on board with it. However, when that fictionalized version of the Olympics is the only true crossover sans Smash Brothers that we've gotten between Sonic the Hedgehog and Super Mario, then you're also going to kind of be turned off by it, aren't you?
Yeah, I feel like they missed an opportunity, like back in the GameCube days, to like have some big old Mario vs. Sonic crossover adventure.
And this is well-worn ground. We're not breaking any new territories of chats here by saying, hey, you know what Nintendo and Sega should have done is actually had a real platformer where Mario and Sonic, like, their worlds collide. And they've given their reasons why they don't want to do that. You know, it's like, well, they won't, the styles of game won't really mesh, and whatever, excuses. They're just excuses. Really, like, by doing it this way, they can trade on the concept, the appeal of Mario and Sonic's worlds coming together, but they can do it in a unambitious sort of platform that they can continually churn out sequels every 2 years or whatever, when you factor in the winter games as well. And, you know, there's nothing really wrong with that, I guess, but it felt like a missed opportunity back in 2008, and now in 2021, we've all just lived with it so long. It's just like, oh, another Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games game. Okay, like, I'm not going to get excited about it, and this is the one I played the most, though, because David, you wanted to do this conversation, so...
Oh, yeah, because now we have a podcast to talk about it. Right?
Yeah, well, this is the 9th season.
Because I rented the London 2012 one back in the day, and it was right, but, you know, I didn't have to talk about it for 3 hours, so...
This is going to be a 3-hour episode, David, I promise you that. Famous last words.
All right, we'll see about that.
What we're going to do here is we're going to talk a little bit about the game itself. But that's quickly going to evolve into discussing the in-universe implications and the lore and the bizarre continuity of everything. Because, oh my god. So, for starters, wow, booting up this game, I was just gobsmacked by how sterile the presentation was. It felt less like a video game and more like waiting in a doctor's office. I don't know. It just the white screens, the menus is just I guess it's bland but efficient, but there's just something about this that feels like a mopped hallway in a hospital. It's not very tantalizing. I don't know. And I understand too, like Nintendo is, because Sega makes these games, right? We say Nintendo and Sega, but these are Sega games. So Sega has to deal with Nintendo, you know, one of the most curmudgeonly bizarre companies in all of entertainment. You know, they got their strict rules, but bizarre edicts to follow. And then you've got the IOC that you also have to deal with. So it's a miracle that I guess we have any functioning game whatsoever, let alone a whole series of them dating back a good solid 13 years now. But jeez, I don't know. I complained about Super Smash Bros. 4's menus back in the day and how chaotic they were. I would take the chaos over just how uninspired this is. But anyway, it's a small complaint. I just wanted to get that in there because I was just bored before I even got to any of the games.
Like there's like a quick match and you can just like select a sporting event, but I don't know. There's not really anything to like tie them together.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's designed for quick gameplay. Like especially if you want to play with friends or whatever, you know, here it's just you can get into it really quick. But you would think a big colorful union like Mario and Sonic coming together would I don't know, have more color to it. So I was also really, I guess, frozen, deadlocked when I started the game because, and this could only happen to me, David. You have to select your country, and this is the flag that will be next to your character when you compete in online events. Not just online events, though, in local gameplay too. So you have to select, you know, a country that's competing.
A country, yes.
Yeah, that's competing in these Olympics. And you're like, well, Heil, you just said you live in the United States. Why don't you just pick the United States? Well, here's the thing. I'm not playing as Heil Russell, a me character or an Xbox Live avatar. The character you, who is me, Heil Russell, the self-insert character that is canon.
Right. You're playing as Donkey Kong, and you have to figure out which country Donkey Kong is from.
Yes. So I was like, okay, well, Donkey Kong Island, the Congo jungle. I guess, you know, DK Vine has long posited that Donkey Kong Island is off the western coast of Africa. And because a couple sources like Super Smash Bros. And Mario Golf Toadstool Tour has an alternate spelling of Congo jungle with the C, which is actually an alternate that is in fact the real life Congo jungle. You go back a ways and it uses the K. So anyway, we've said that it is probably at least parallel to the Congo, the real world Congo. So I looked for the Democratic
Congo with the C.
Yeah, I looked for the Democratic Republic of Congo, not competing in the Olympics. So I was like, huh. So like the closest country was Angola? And I was like, but why would Donkey Kong be representing Angola? Like, and then my brain just collapsed in on itself, David.
Well, I think, and I was thinking maybe selecting like the UK because, you know, best known games were made by a British developer.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, maybe, or Japan because, you know, the parent company is Japanese. But I was like that.
Yeah, I went with the US. That way, if I ever go online, they'll be like, oh, yeah, the US. American.
Yeah. So basically what I did was just vowed to delete my data and like clear my records out. And then when I finally figure out what to align Donkey Kong with, then I will actually have that be, my permanent, like, saved record. But that really gets us into more, the lore of the game and why.
Yeah, then you can select Russia for some reason, even though you can't select Russia in the real Olympics.
Yeah. The Russian Federation is in the game, and I don't know if this game was developed before Russia was banned, or if the whole doping scandal. I'm not quite clear on when that kind of shook out. There are Russian athletes competing in the Olympics, but they're basically unaffiliated. So,
yeah, well, they did the same thing in 2018.
Okay, yeah.
But Mario and Sonic weren't at those Olympics either, so fuck that.
Yeah. So, anyway, so I just picked the U.S. for now, but I'm going to delete it because it doesn't feel right for me to have Donkey Kong being represented by the American flag. It's just, what I'm like, this raises a lot of questions that we'll get into, like why these various characters,
the flag of Retro Studios.
Sure, but why these various characters are represented by these flags? Because when you're playing in single player, it's randomized what flag is next to what characters. So, Mario could be represented by, I don't know, Croatia. I haven't checked to see if Croatia's there, but you know what I mean? Like it's complete nonsense. And maybe you just have to think, okay, well, the flag, that part isn't canon. That's just to tell you who you're playing against.
Well, it's because the IOC doesn't recognize Donkey Kong Island or the Mushroom Kingdom.
We'll get into that, David, too. Yeah.
So just pick a random country. Oh, today I'll be represented by Brazil. I'm going to be from New Zealand for some reason.
I have thoughts on all of it, don't worry. But I assume you were worried. So I do want to talk about the gameplay and the various games themselves. And I will do it quickly because I don't think either one of us really wants to talk about the game all that much, even though this is the episode you wanted to do.
It's all right, I guess. This has been a File 2 production.
You're not getting out of it this easy. We do have a call to take, and so I thought we would let one of our listeners define the game for us, and then we don't have to do quite as much work here. So let's go ahead and hear what the caller has to say about deep breath here. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020.
Or if the cover says Tokyo 2020 Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. But
then the spine has it in the proper order, so we'll go by the spine.
Sonic and Mario at the Games of the 32nd Olympiad.
All right, let's play the call.
Hey, Isle. This is Jebaha. I have not called in, I think, a year now at this point, but I've had a lot going on in life. I got married, and I've just now bought a home, and regardless, I'm heading home from work now, and I saw on Facebook as I was walking out that you guys are going to be doing an episode on Donkey Kong being an Olympic athlete. I don't really have anything to add as far as how that would apply to the lore. That's more, I guess, what more you are going to be doing, and I look forward to hearing that. But I guess I'll give a little mini review of the game. Played it with a buddy of mine. It is the very definition of mediocre. As novel as the idea, as Marvel and Sonic at the Olympic Games is, and how hilarious that sounds on the outset, please don't make any more. It's not good games. But regardless, Donkey Kong is broken. If you actually had him in Olympic Games, at least in my opinion, too strong. But hey, that's what makes him so great. One more thing. You never came out with the Mario and Rabbids video, man. If you're having trouble looking for someone to join you on the episode, hey man, just give me a call, give me a holler. Anyway, you guys have provided a lot of happiness for me over the past year. I've still been keeping up with you. Hopefully my calls will make more sense later on. But yeah, have a good episode.
Thank you, Jebaha. Congrats on buying a house. Brag much and getting married. Call me when you have a boat. Why don't you? And yeah, mediocre is a good way to sum it up. Look, there is, well, first of all, to your last point, to the Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle episode, which, by the way, is a game I am enjoying immensely right now, and I had to put down for a bit to play this in this game. That is coming very, very soon. I know I've been saying it, but I have been taking diligent notes. I think it's going to be a two-parter, actually. And I do have a co-host lined up. It's going to be a good, I think, duology of episodes. So I know everybody's been waiting for it. I've been waiting for it. And it'll be fun just explaining why it's taken so long to get it up off the ground. But yeah, thank you for the call. Mediocre, David. Do you think that's a fair assessment?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I don't want to just trash this game because it is a piece of software that had obviously a lot of work.
It certainly is a piece of software.
Yeah, it had a lot of. I was going to call it a piece of art, but I was like, maybe that's a bridge too far.
Well, technically it is. Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, what is art? This is a game that had a lot of work put into it, and there are aspects of it I really do think are neat. There are some Olympic events in this game that are fun, amusing to play as. I think the story is batshit insane. Maybe not quite batshit insane. It's not Mario Tennis Aces level, but it's more bug shit insane. It's a little smaller dollop of excrement. There are things to like about this game, and if you are a Mario and Sonic fan, or Mario or Sonic fan, if you're a fan of one or both of the properties, I think you'll get more out of it vis-a-vis fan service. If you're coming into this, though, just as a Donkey Kong fan, there's not a whole lot to really sink your teeth into. Donkey Kong's in it, Diddy Kong,
there's a little bit, and it also comes like really late in the game, too.
Yeah. Diddy, he's unlockable in the rugby game, in story mode. Diddy is there, though. But there's just not a whole lot there, and I question why Donkey Kong had to be in this at all. It feels like he's just in it because of tradition, because he is a cameo game character of renown, and he was in the Mario Kart 64 cast, which is kind of the prototypical cast that all these games were sort of gelled in, and it's the mold that all cameo games that came after followed. Granted, I mean, Super Mario Kart and stuff, but I think Mario Kart 64 really shored up who the essential components would be, and then other characters have been added to it over time. Anyway, the game itself, though, I found some of the games to be actually quite a lot of fun. The more tactile sports, for example, like boxing, karate, fencing. And a real quick note on fencing, David. It was during the fencing, the first time I booted up fencing, and I was fencing as Donkey Kong, that it dawned on me that there are two animal buddies in the Donkey Kong series with fencing names. Enguarde and Perry.
Whoa.
Yeah, I never really put that together. And you're like, well, Perry is named because he's Perry the Parallel Bird. But Perry also, he's got the beak, and he can take out booty birds, right? So it's like Perry. It's like you're got a fencing. What do they call it? The sword? I don't know what I don't know what the terminology is. Yeah.
It's foil.
Foil, yes. So then you've got Enguarde, obviously. That one you should know, but yeah, Perry kind of threw me for a loop. So when I was playing the fencing game and all this terminology was being thrown at me, I was like, oh my God. Cause I was like, haha, Perry, like the Parallel Bird. And then the match started and it said Enguarde. And I was like, what? Anyway, the equation.
Then says espresso, which was weird.
Yeah. Glower the tadpole. I was like, what does that even mean in fencing? The equestrian event was also, it's also fun. It's clunky, but I enjoyed it because it was something to do that wasn't just tapping a button relentlessly, because that is where this game really falls.
Yeah, and I actually like the sport climbing
That
Reminds me of a DK King of Swing.
it reminds
Like
me.
that E3 video.
Yeah, it's a harder to control DK King Swing in my opinion. DK King of Swing feels more intuitive than the rock climbing or whatever it's called here is.
Because, I mean, if that was intentional, then probably Diddy would have been the guest character instead of Rouge.
Yeah, that's the thing. Why is Diddy the guest character in Rugby? Like, there's no thematic connection to any of this. And that's why I say, if you're coming at this as purely a Donkey Kong fan like I am, you're not going to get any true fan service. There are one or two little nods in there, which we will spoil for you on this episode. But
Sure. Forgot the spoiler alert for this game that's been out for a year and a half.
spoiler alert, they all die in the end. Clearly, like, Donkey Kong didn't even need to be here. Like, the fan service is purely from a Mario and Sonic. And really Sonic. Like, Sonic comes away smelling like roses. Because this is a Sega game. So it's like Sakurai's always gonna excel with the Kirby fan service. No matter what Smash iteration it is. And then, you know, other franchises are kind of gonna be left out in the cold a little bit. This is basically the Olympiad version of Smash 4 for the Donkey Kong series. I thought the equestrian event was okay though, and that's funny to me because we talk about the ponies quite a bit on this podcast whenever you're on, David. For some reason, ponies always come up because a lot of these events.
I do like My Little Pony.
A lot of these events are in other Mario sports games, or at least in some iteration they are. You've got Mario Sports Superstars for the 3DS that had the ponies. There's table tennis in this game, which is basically a really stripped down version of Mario Tennis. And
there's also badminton, which is also a stripped down version of Mario Tennis.
Yeah, badminton is just Mario Tennis without the extra bounce. And I enjoyed those, but it just felt like, oh, I could be playing Mario Tennis right now, but I'm playing this worse version. So those are the games.
I mean, I did like the worst version of DK King of Swing that they had. So
yeah, that's true. Sometimes, of course, when's the last time we've had a version of DK King of Swing? Jungle Climber was the last one. Like, we just had a Mario Tennis game the other year. So I don't know. Like, it was the track and field events that I loathed. I thought they were just bottom of the barrel, more basic than a Mario Party mini game, completely unengaging in every way, and actually infuriating at times. They're just button mashers. They're just repeatedly press the A button. Now press this other button. You're done. How'd you do? And I understand.
Yeah, it's over like 10 seconds.
I understand when you're bringing over a dozen Olympic sports into this platform. You need to come up with simple control mechanisms for all of them. And it can't be easy. But I don't know. Like, there's a reason I was more engaged when you had a more robust control scheme versus just the mindless mashers. They did not do it for me. And I felt like some of the sports also fell victim to this. I was excited about surfing. And surfing was just a complete dud for me because of the control scheme. But in all honesty, I'm sure, surfing is probably more boring than people realize because it's a lot of just paddling around waiting for that wave. And, there's that NES.
I don't know. I kind of liked surfing.
Yeah, there's that NES surf and skate game with the Funky Kong XP before there was even Funky Kong as a character. I liked that, but surfing was also the weakest aspect of that game. So
I did like the skateboarding one. Kind of play like a simplified Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
It was very simplified.
But you don't have to give Activision Blizzard any money, so.
Yeah. I think Mario Kart Tour is a better simplified Tony Hawk, though, than this simplified Tony Hawk, in my opinion. I don't know. The trick tracks on Kart Tour are a lot more fun for me than this was. So I'm saying all this, though, from the perspective that I did not try the motion controls. David, I know you did, and I want to hear your perspective.
A little bit.
Do they make them more fun?
Sport climbing, I did for sport climbing, which took some getting used to. It was like, is this what real sport climbing is like? But I think I prefer the shoulder buttons on that one. I did also do a bunch of 100-meter runs, and it's kind of like, that Wii Sports style waggle.
Yeah.
Probably not going to play it again, but if I got a bunch of that Wii Sports audience, maybe have some fun with it, I guess. It's better than mashing buttons, I suppose.
Yeah. I would not recommend the button controls on those games. But I think boxing was a lot of fun. Karate was a lot of fun. Anything involving fighting was fun with the button controls. But, track and field just wasn't it. Javelin in particular. Did you ever get the hang of the javelin?
I think so. I mean, I got enough of a hang of it to get through the story mode.
Yeah, I don't know. The javelin kept falling limp for me, and I was like, "This is a metaphor."
For me, it was the discus throw. Like, I think I kept rotating the control stick as fast as possible, like a Mario Party game. But I think that one makes you foul up.
Did you rip the skin off your palm?
I think they make control sticks better.
Okay. Yeah, the N64 analog stick was a death trap in its design. And then there were the 1964 games, the Tokyo 1964 games, which is the...
Yeah, they're styled like video games of 1964, I guess.
Yeah. So this is a good time to launch into the story mode, because this provides the justification for the 1964 Tokyo games. And so this is the bizarre nature of this concept. The whole conception for the story mode of this game, which I am appreciative there is a story mode, that it isn't just a bunch of cheap mini games in a sterile bundle. At least they tried. And they've done this before. I mean, story mode isn't new, but, as this is the first Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, we are giving a proper first impressions of here on the conversation. I'm not really judging it by the past games in the series. I'm just like, at least they tried, and they did give us a story mode here. But the story is so weird. So it revolves around this device, this little video game arcade console called the Tokyo 64. And you're like, well, that's clever, because the last time the Olympics were in Tokyo was 1964. And obviously 64 is a number that has great significance for Nintendo and Mario and Donkey Kong. So yeah, Tokyo 64. It's a play on the Nintendo 64. Okay. All right, I get that. It's a Nintendo 64 reference, but the actual games that take place in the Tokyo 64, because spoilers, Mario and Sonic get sucked into this device and they get stuck in this video game world. They are games that utilize sprites from the 1980s Nintendo Entertainment System and the early 1990s Sega Genesis.
Now, if they were really committed, it would have just been a bunch of green dots on an oscilloscope like 1964.
Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking that. So, tonally, it doesn't know what it wants to be, because they want to have these retro sprites of Mario and Sonic competing against each other, but they don't even get the eras right. It should be Super Mario World Mario and Peach and Bowser versus Sega Genesis Sonic the Hedgehog and Dr. Eggman. It's so disjointed. And then they compete in these 2D games that I guess take a page from various, 8-bit games of the day. But it's just, I don't know. And maybe I'm frustrated because why not just throw in the ACM sprite of Donkey Kong in there too? But
or if they're going like 8-bit style, maybe like Donkey Kong Jr. from off of Donkey Kong Jr.
Had they just gone out and had this be the game that fully confirms that the modern Donkey Kong is Donkey Kong Jr. grown up, then we would be singing nothing but praises for this. We're easy to bribe, Sega. Like we're
of course it was more likely that they would have just done a young Cranky Kong, and we would have had to keep telling people, no, Cranky Kong was the original one.
I know. That's the go-to sprite they would have used, Super Mario Odyssey style. So anyway, the story involves a trap by Bowser and Dr. Eggman to suck Mario and Sonic into this device, and they play it off like time travel, but I don't think it's really time travel. They're just in this simulation of the Tokyo 64 games. Okay. And then basically...
And then to get out, you have to win all the gold medals.
Yeah, so to get out, you basically need to charge this battery, and it's charged with excitement.
Okay, so back in the real world, they had... Because the battery for the Tokyo 64 console was running low. So in the real world, Luigi and Tails and whoever else was joining had to charge this excitement battery, charged by the excitement of the crowd, except during the 2020 Olympics, there was no crowd. So they're just going to ignore that.
Yeah.
Because the game came out a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to ignore it. I have explanations for everything, David. It is cool, I guess, on some level to see Luigi and Tails teaming up. And then later on, they, encounter Diddy Kong. So it's cool that all these, second banana sidekick heroes are meeting. And, I mean, they've met before, but, it's, I guess, conceptually cool. But again, it's execution. It's is this really how you want to do it? Is this really what people had in mind when they fantasized about all these characters coming together? No, absolutely not. I don't really care for the Tokyo 64 games. They are a novelty, and they're a novelty that can't even appeal to me, because they don't have Donkey Kong elements in it, nor can they keep it consistent what the point is of having 8-bit Mario go against 16-bit Sega characters like Sonic. It's just, I don't know. It feels like they didn't know what they wanted it to be, and because of that, any novelty behind it is just lost in translation. So, you mentioned what are supposed to be the lack of crowds. Obviously, there are stadiums full of cheering people here, but they're all Mario and Sonic drones, like NPCs.
Yeah, your Toads and Almachows and
so
the Flickies and
right,
whatever those bunnies were called. And
so does this game take place in the last 2 weeks? Circa 2021.
Well, it is called Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020, so...
Yes, but officially...
It must take place at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020.
Yes, officially, though, even though the games are taking place in 2021, these are still the 2020 Olympics. So, I've seen a lot of speculation that perhaps this game takes place in an alternate 2020 where COVID never happened. And... no, I think it takes place late July through early August of 2021. Because there are the attendees that we see are only Mushroom Kingdom and Sonic World. I know cartoon fans are going to want to say Mobius, Cameron Regal gave me a little education before we recorded about Sonic the Hedgehog's world and what it's called, and I realized it's called Mobius in the cartoons, but not actually in the games, and they go out of their way not to reference what it's called in the games.
I think the games some of the games take place on Earth, like the Sonic Adventure games, I think.
It's just an alternate.
Like all the NPCs are just like regular people, but there's just bright blue animals in this perfectly normal world for some reason.
Yeah, I think it's an alternate Earth where you can have anthropomorphic animals running around and it's just perfectly normal. And you have like analogs of Earth cities that aren't actually the Earth cities. But, that's not my area of expertise. And I don't want Josh Wallen, the Geek Critique, to be yelling, screaming as he listens to this. So I'm just going to avoid it entirely. But these two realms are coming together in Tokyo to be spectators in the middle of a worldwide global pandemic. So that raises a couple possibilities here, David. One, those realms, Mushroom Kingdom and Sonic's world, they don't have anti-vaxxers in those realms. Rupert Murdoch's reach has not extended that far. Facebook is non-existent, or at least Facebook is better moderated for disinformation. Or it could be because these entities, these creatures, toads, mushroom people, Yoshis, what have you, they are actually immune to COVID, to the effects of COVID. And, then that raises even more questions. If they are immune to COVID and they're able to just sit around maskless in Tokyo, were they immune to the original COVID? What about the Delta variant? And if they are immune to it, could we develop an even stronger vaccine from their blood? I don't know. But I think we have an in-universe rationale for why there are no actual citizens of Tokyo sitting in the stands in the Tokyo games here in this presentation of them. It's because for whatever reason, the citizens of the other realms who are cheering on Mario and Sonic and friends don't have to worry about COVID. So there you go.
But can Mario still catch COVID?
Oh yeah, well, Mario's been vaccinated. I give Mario a lot of shit, but he is a doctor, even though he is losing his license at the end of October. So,
or is that why he's losing his license?
Oh my God! Oh no! All those jokes about Mario dying at the end of March when Nintendo was pulling 3D All Stars. What if Mario dies at the end of the Olympics? What if like in the chronology, this is the last Mario game, and we'll just boot up Mario Kart Tour after the Olympics are over with an announcement. We're sad to report that Mario passed away August 12th, 2021. And there's just like a render of him with a ventilator looking sad. Like, oh, I should have got the vaccine. We don't know. We don't know what Nintendo's planning, but probably not going to happen. Mario's probably not going to die.
Now, Dr. Eggman is vaccinated, but he's the one going on TV telling people not to get vaccinated.
Yeah. Had they known a global pandemic was coming, I'm sure they would have altered the plot for Bowser and Eggman to team up with a better plan than using this Tokyo 64 device. Like they would have utilized COVID. They wouldn't have. The IOC would have never agreed to that. Nintendo would have never agreed to it. In a perfect world, though, yeah, there would have been a COVID plot to this game. Anyway, yeah. So I like to think this does take place in the here and now, and just for the absurdity of a game in 2019 taking place in 2021. With this whole dark undercurrent that nobody predicted would have tainted these Olympic Games.
Kind of in the beginning of the story mode, game he's talking about who wanted to start the 100-meter dash but couldn't find any competitors.
Yeah. If you look closely enough and you read between the lines enough, there are like times when you could, it just lines up perfectly and it makes you chuckle. So yeah, earlier when I was complaining about selecting a nation for Donkey Kong and the existential panic this caused as far as continuity and lore goes, raised the question, why are Mario and Sonic's friends randomly representing different nations? So in story mode, there's a constant reference to the quote unquote spectators being thrilled. Oh, the spectators will be thrilled by this event. Hey, these characters just like stumble in, like Luigi and Tails just bumble into a situation. Hey, we're going to be competing in this event. Do you want to compete against us? And I was like,
that's how the Olympics work. You just walk into an event and compete.
Yeah, how easygoing is the IOC in the middle of this pandemic? They're like, oh shit, we don't, it's like, did everybody just like get suspended for weed use, or, like Simone Biles just like take time off for her own good. So it's just up to this weird plumber in green overalls stroll in. It's like, hey, do you want to compete in the Olympics? Yeah, get in here. You're a gymnast now.
Sure. Yeah. I'm sure this mutant fox could probably do something.
Which, why isn't NBC covering any of this? This is good shit. This is crazy. People would love this, and yet they're just blocking it out. They're not reporting on any of it because we don't know if this weird mustachioed man represents the US or Italy or Japan. So we don't want to cover him. Anyway, so my theory though on the spectators being thrilled suggests that, and this could be a unifying theory for the entire Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games series. These aren't actual Olympic events, as in what we watch on TV or hear on the radio or read about on the internet. These are exhibitions put on by the IOC to drum up interest in the Olympics, but they aren't actually like going into the record books in any real way. It's a way to make the Olympics multiversal by bringing in these alternate Earths like the Mushroom Kingdom and Sonic's world without sacrificing the tradition of it being a singular competition between the nations of our Earth.
Or what if this all takes place before the actual Olympics in, say, late 2019?
No.
That would explain why there's any crowds.
But again, the crowds aren't humans. So,
okay,
yeah.
fair enough.
So I like this would also explain, because I know the IOC has a bunch of weird rules about like presenting the Olympics and what you can show and you can't show. None of the characters get real Olympic medals in this game. They're weird, like knockoff versions of the Olympic medals, despite this game being authorized by the IOC. So I would think that would explain why there's this weird degree of separation between the Olympics that we all know and this sort of bastardized cartoony version. It's because these are put on by the IOC, but they are more exhibitions, perhaps in the late aughts. When this tradition started, it was just like, oh man, ratings are down. It's just, we've got to do something to make the Olympics relevant for today's youth. And this is what they stumbled on, is bringing in the multiverse and bringing in Mario and Sonic's worlds and having these kind of, exhibition bouts that, are there for the benefit of multiversal watchers and also the citizens of those worlds. I'm reaching here, David. I realize I'm reaching here, but it's the only thing that makes sense, especially with the complete laid back way these characters seem to get into these events and compete.
Well, we all know that the TVs on Donkey Kong Island can pick up NBC, so there's no problem there.
How else are they going to watch their friend Jimmy Fallon, David? Jimmy Fallon. Hey, we're going to go on. Reggie's going to go on Jimmy Fallon to promote Donkey Kong Country Returns. And Jimmy Fallon, he's like, hey, Donkey Kong, he's back, everyone. Oh, it's great.
look, Nintendo 3DS, it's 3D. Who cares about Donkey Kong anymore?
Yeah. Hey, of course, Nintendo was the one to come up with 3D gaming. Hey, they did it, everyone. Oh, this is great. Hey, Reggie, do you want to play beer pong? Oh, hey.
The Olympics.
I was just getting on a Jimmy Fallon hate on there for a second. It's very easy for me to do. I apologize. Yeah, I mean, I think that it would also make sense why you have all these characters competing in every Olympic event, because, which strains credibility. It's hard to suspend your disbelief when you have these real life Olympic athletes like Simone Biles who trains all their life in one very specific sport and or athletic exhibition.
Yeah, and meanwhile, just some hedgehog and a gorilla and a plumber can just walk right in and get gold medals.
Yeah, because you look at the mental toll it takes on them, how utterly draining, exhausting, even degrading it can get being on the world stage like that. And having all these expectations placed on you by your home country to take home the gold. We're all rooting for you. And it's just like, it's just absurd what's expected of them. And then, meanwhile, here's Tails from off of Sonic the Hedgehog doing everything well.
An Italian plumber representing Nigeria for some reason.
It's the only plausible way I can think this could work while respecting the rules of reality is that they are silly little events. So Mario is doing the 100-meter dash and Daisy is surfing, but they're not really good at it, right? They're not that skilled at it. I mean, we can all run with a pole, sure, but how good are you really? So that's my workaround. As far as the representing different countries go, haven't quite worked that out yet. I think it's just it might be a way to get the nations of Earth interested in this exhibition mode, because who the fuck are these? Who's this crocodile man? This alligator man? Who is this metal hedgehog that's running around? What the hell is happening? But you're representing Hungary? Cool. Let's root for you, Shadow the Hedgehog. I don't know. It's stupid. It's stupid no matter how you work it out. But that's I mean, maybe I'll have Donkey Kong be representing the UK because of the Rare connection. I don't know. I would like him to represent Donkey Kong Island, but you can't represent Donkey Kong Island in this. Donkey Kong Island gets one mention, but it's not even referenced by name so much. It's just alluded to. So it's a lot to keep me up at night, and this game gives me anxiety as a result. Trying to work out how it all works out, and in a lot of ways, it's just a headache that you almost wish didn't exist. But there are tie-ins. There are ways that the continuity kind of just spills out and works effortlessly. And one of the ways that is the case is Mario Kart Tour. So, Mario Kart Tour is a game that I've been talking about quite a bit on the conversation as of late. Once I discovered the actual joys that are inherent therein, then I was able to really make it a part of my daily routine. Every morning I get up and I brush my teeth, I get a shower, I wash my face with a scrub that keeps me eternally youthful. And while I'm wearing the scrub as a face mask, I pull out my phone and I play Mario Kart Tour first thing in the morning. And I play the quick.
I did that for a bit, but it's taking up a lot of space on my phone, and I have an old phone.
Oh yeah,
so
you can't really.
I deleted it, and somehow I'm still constantly running out of space.
Yeah, that's just. Do you have an iPhone?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like the old SE, the one that still has a headphone jack.
yeah. My phone was doing that where it was just, I think Apple was just deleting space on it. It was just like, get a new phone. You can't really enjoy Mario.
Hey, now
Kart.
I have 800 megabytes. Oh, now I have no space free. Like,
Yeah. You can't really enjoy Mario Kart Tour unless you have the phone for it. But anyway, so I play it every day, just a little bit, drips and drabs here and there. And coinciding with the Olympics, because Mario Kart Tour is arranged, so every 2 weeks you have a new tour. And a lot of those tours often take place in a real world locale. So a couple of weeks ago, they were in Los Angeles, which is really cool because the LA track, it's got various landmarks like Dodger Stadium and the Los Angeles Convention Center. So, oh my God, I can have Dixie Kong, I can have Funky Kong driving right through E3. And LA is a place I've lived in. I have gone on so many work trips to LA over the years that it is essentially a home away from home. And it was honestly really trippy to see the Kongs driving through areas and landmarks that I kind of know quite well at this point. So, that's really cool. Well, after the LA tour, they were back in Tokyo. And that, they did it purely as a shameless tie-in. Like, hey, the Olympics are happening. Let's bring back Mario Kart Tour to Tokyo and bring back the Tokyo Blur track. And that's all well and good. But when you think about it, David, and I brought this up on Twitter when I had this realization, Mario Kart Tour went back to Tokyo because Mario and his friends and Donkey Kong are all competing in the Olympic Games, and the only way to make their Mario Kart Tour duties work with their Olympic duties was to take Mario Kart Tour back to Tokyo. Continuity is flawless. I mean, granted, I'm sure nobody working on Mario Kart Tour was thinking in those terms, but what is Donkey Kong continuity if not just a bunch of happy little Bob Ross-esque accidents along the way?
So you're completing every single Olympic event and kart racing?
I'm pretty sure they do a lot of uppers. I'm pretty sure Donkey Kong's heart is going to give out at any moment. All that burning DK he must drink to stay awake. Especially with the jet lag. Like, now, I assume they fast travel via warp pipe, but it's still like, I'm in Tokyo and I am like completely different time zone. I am jet lagged and I have to do all these events. Oh, now excuse me. My Mario Kart Tour duties mean I must leave Tokyo temporarily and go race in Donut Plains back in the Mushroom Kingdom. I will be back. Yeah, it's exhausting, but it kind of syncs up in a weird, cool way. So, I appreciate that. Now, Diddy. I've talked a lot about Donkey Kong. Diddy is also in the game, albeit briefly and not enough for my liking.
Yeah, so pretty late in the story mode, you get to play a match of rugby with Diddy Kong, and then once you win that, you can play as Diddy in just a quick match, but only in rugby.
Only in rugby, which when I think of Diddy Kong...
Rugby sevens, whatever that is.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, whatever
I don't know. I never played the first six.
Whenever I think of the hard-hitting sport of rugby, I think of Diddy Kong. Now, Mammy, granted, Diddy is the only UK-created character in the game. So if you're going to attach him to a sport that is associated with the UK, maybe that is an actual reference. Like, oh, we're going to put the British character, Diddy Kong, in the rugby game. But again, maybe I'm giving them way too much credit here, and they didn't actually think it through that much. Now you brought up...
One thing I noticed about Diddy's hat, it's just a plain red hat. It doesn't have that Nintendo logo that it's had. And I think the last time he wore just a plain red hat was like DK King of Swing.
Well, I think DK King of Swing, like,
And that game had like a simpler art style,
Yeah.
so maybe they just didn't bother drawing it.
I'm pretty sure DK King of Swing, he's supposed to have the Nintendo logo. We're just something to overlook. Like the last time I think he was supposed to be portrayed in game and he didn't have the Nintendo logo was Donkey Kong 64. But you know, he's had the Nintendo logo on his hat since Donkey Kong Country 2. That was what really, like, in promotional renders and artwork, he had the stars and he had the Nintendo logo. But originally, 1994, Donkey Kong Country and Donkey Kong Land, he didn't have the Nintendo logo on his hat. So, did he have the Nintendo logo on his past appearances in Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games?
I don't know.
Okay, so there is a reason why he doesn't have the Nintendo logo on his hat. Do you want to explain? Because you're the one who told me this, and I find it fascinating when we talk about the IOC and the hoops that Sega had to jump through.
So I guess they have like rules around product placement, I guess.
Yes, so even though he is a Nintendo character in a Nintendo Switch game, the IOC would be like, hey, if you're going to have this character, this monkey, competes in rugby in the Olympics, he's not allowed to wear the Nintendo logo because that is product placement and that is a no-no in the Olympics. You can make deals after you come home from the Olympics, then you can have deals, but there's still rules to it. Like, okay, so like I don't know.
I guess they don't know about the Star Shirt company that makes Diddy's shirt.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, Diddy's being sneaky. or it could just be that in universe, this would also be the reason why he wouldn't be able to have the Nintendo hat. But this is cool because it allows us to bring back his original hat in universe, and he's wearing it. Like, he pulls that out of his closet and he's like, I guess I have to wear this because they won't let me wear the Nintendo hat when I'm in the Olympics. That's fascinating to me that the red hat, like the pure red hat, makes a comeback after all of this time, or at least in this series after all of this time. And yeah, so it's just bizarre to me that, because technically, like, Donkey Kong has the DK on his tie, Mario has the M on his, like, those are both brands, right? So that's fine, but the Nintendo hat is a bridge too far, even though it's just a piece of Diddy's wardrobe. Speaking of wardrobe, though, why is it that, like, all of the Sega characters have Olympic outfits? And a lot of the Mario characters do, but not all of them. And Donkey and Diddy do not have any Olympic clothes. They just wear their normal clothes. DK's tie, Diddy's shirt and hat. And I'm thinking, to Mario Golf Super Rush too. Donkey Kong is not wearing golfing clothes in that. And I'm wondering, is there some sort of edict from Nintendo that you can't put Donkey and Diddy in clothes that aren't their clothes? I mean, Skylanders got away with it, but did something change after Skylanders?
But like, and so is Yoshi and Bowser, but Sonic and Tails can have shirts though. Yeah,
but I think there must be some bizarre Nintendo edict here because Sega can do whatever they want with their characters, and they said, yeah, it's cool. All the Sonic characters can be decked out in Olympic gear. But only certain
except
Nintendo
Metal
characters.
Sonic.
Except Metal Sonic, yeah. I don't know. It's a conundrum, and I don't know how Nintendo works. I can figure out the IOC better than I can figure out Nintendo and their philosophy at times. There's still, so I'm still hung up on Diddy here because you also get some trivia, some Diddy trivia that you can unlock.
Yeah, throughout the story mode, you can collect a bunch of trivia, most of which are about the Olympic Games, where it asks you a question and you press the A button to reveal the answer. So, and they also have fun facts about the characters. So, hey, maybe I could quiz you on what they had to say about Diddy Kong.
You better be taking notes, because Gruntilda will ask you this at the end of the episode.
What body part does Diddy Kong have, but not Donkey Kong?
So your mind immediately goes somewhere lewd, right? Like, well, Donkey has the well-defined ass, so I'm gonna say Donkey Kong has the badonkadonk, right? Diddy Kong, this is the correct answer, Diddy Kong has a tail. Donkey Kong doesn't.
And the trivia me get for Donkey Kong says, what is the mark on Donkey Kong's necktie? And it shows a picture of Donkey Kong, so you can just look at it.
Yes, the answer, and I'm quoting, the answer is DK. Donkey Kong wears a red necktie marked with his own initials in yellow letters. What? For that matter, though, Donkey Kong also gets a biography.
Yeah, when he joins you in the story mode.
Yeah, so here's Donkey Kong's biography. King of the jungle and superstar of the Kong family. He's so strong, it isn't funny. He'd do anything for a banana or 10. But I want to go back to that middle part. He's so strong, it isn't funny, David.
That would make him approximately as strong as Chunky Kong.
You know, I'm going to say that's just Chunky Kong erasure. Like, they are completely stealing Chunky Kong's verses from the DK rap and applying them to Donkey Kong. And I don't like that.
Now he's strong and he can pull levers.
Yeah, I mean...
Does Chunky have prosthetic golfing fingers? Do they make him in his size?
We wouldn't know, would we? Because we haven't seen Chunky Kong, except in spirit form in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, since they started utilizing prosthetic golfing fingers in the Kong community. Tiny Kong got prosthetic golfing fingers, but Chunky is a 4-fingered Kong by birth. So presumably he would start using the prosthetic golfing fingers, but again, we wouldn't know because not only has Chunky Kong not really appeared since the buyout, since Donkey Kong 64, minus like a cameo appearance in Donkey Kong Country 3 Game Boy Advance, which might just be a Chunky Kong hologram, but now they're taking his lyrics, his iconic lines from the DK rap and applying them to Donkey Kong. I mean, they already took away his hell and changed it to heck. What is next?
And now maybe Donkey Kong is a hell of a guy who is faster and can jump higher.
Yeah, it's just weird to me they would reference the DK rap, but I mean, I guess they can't reference the coconut gun. King of the jungle and superstar of the Kong family. He fires in spurts. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird to me. So, also weird is the reference to Donkey Kong Island. So, I also need to bring this up because Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong both speak in the native Kong language in this game. So we know they're perfectly capable of speaking English or whatever your own native language is as translated by the game itself. We've seen them do it a few times. We've heard Donkey Kong vocalize words. Okay. He still does it in Mario Golf Super Rush. So they can speak human language, but for whatever reason in the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic games, they always speak, their dialogue is always this ook, ook, ook. And then in parentheses, we see what they really mean by saying ook, ook, ook. And I hate this because they speak human language. Just roll with it, Nintendo. I don't know why. I think this is another bizarre Nintendo edict. We're like, well, the Kongs don't speak English or Japanese or French outside of their own games. And I was like, just shut up. Shut up. You're overthinking this. Now, there are workarounds in the canon. Don't you worry, people. I've figured it out, and I figured this out some time ago. They speak the native Kong language as sort of a code, right? They don't want, like, when they're not on Donkey Kong Island, they don't want their enemies understanding what they have to say. And friends like Mario and Rosalina, they have learned how to speak the native Kong language. So they understand them just fine. But if any like prying humans are nearby, they don't want them to know what they're saying. So that is why they're speaking the ooks in these games. It's all just clever Kong coding. So I don't even know if this would be Donkey Kong's native language or it's something they just learn in Kong College when they're young. Like how they still have like Latin courses in high school. And it's like, why are you teaching Latin? It's a dead language. It's just a way for the overly educated to feel smug. That's all Latin serves.
And then if you go on an island populated by intelligent monkeys, then you could just speak Latin so they won't be able to understand you.
Exactly. It's just a code. It's just a code for weird people who speak Latin to communicate with each other. But it's a dead language. So I imagine they speak I imagine like that Kongs learn the Kong language. Maybe it's something that like Wrinkly didn't teach the Kremlings when she ran Kong College on Crocodile Isle. Like maybe it is a way for Kongs to communicate with each other. Even though they never use it around Kremlin, so that doesn't really make sense. Anyway, it's a second language they all know. Just roll with it. All right? Anyway, so in the story mode, at one point, when Donkey Kong comes in the story mode, and they use this to set up the surfing event, Donkey Kong is talking with Rosalina, and they're staring out at the ocean, and Donkey Kong says, "Ook, ook, ook," which in English means, "Yeah, I love it by the sea. Takes me back to our old tropical islands." Which is a sentence that you could unpack in a couple different ways. And that's what we're going to do.
The sea reminds him of the tropical island he lives on.
That's one way. But it's very awkward phrasing. Because if you're going to say, "Yeah, I love the ocean. It reminds me of my tropical island."
Also, it kind of implies that they don't live there anymore, which
that's what that would imply if you're taking it to mean that. However, look closely at the phrasing. Ook, ook, ook. Yeah, I love it by the sea. Takes me back to our old tropical island. What Donkey Kong is actually saying here, David, is that he fucking hates competing in the Olympics. He's tired. He's burned out. He's been Mario Kart touring. He's been practicing medicine in Dr. Mario World. He needs a break. He's burned out, and he has to compete in another Olympic Games. He doesn't even win real gold medals from it. What is the point of all of this? So he's saying, "Yeah, I love hanging out by the sea while in Japan because I know that if I go out on the ocean, it will take me back to my home." Donkey Kong is just looking for an escape route at this point. Look at the intro to this game that is in our YouTube and SoundCloud episode artwork for this episode. Everybody, like the Mario characters and Donkey Kong are just coming out onto the stadium, and everybody is looking like exuberant or boastful, proud. Donkey Kong is the only one who looks miserable. He's got this almost like half stoned expression, and he almost looks like he's just plotting something. And I'm thinking he doesn't want to be there. I'm thinking this is just something he agreed to do because Mario signed him up for it, and it's like there's a reason he quit being a part of the Mario Party competitions as an active participant for several years. He got sick of it, and I think he's sick of the Olympics. He's sick of doing this for over a decade. He didn't want to leave Donkey Kong Island in the middle of a global pandemic, but here he is, and so he's just wistfully looking out at the ocean, dreaming of going back. Or maybe I've just overthought it and it's poorly written line of dialogue, and it means exactly what.
Yeah, it probably makes more sense in its original ape language.
Ook, ook, ook,
ook, ook, ook. There's a lot of subtleties in the inflection that are sometimes hard to pick up on.
Yeah. Speaking of surfing, where the hell is Funky Kong? Okay, this really does upset me because you put Diddy as the rugby guest character, right? Any character in the extended Mario and Donkey Kong cast that would be perfect for an event, a sport that is making its Olympics debut in the 2020/2021 Summer Olympic Games in Tokyo. It would be Funky Kong, the resident surfing character of the extended Mario Donkey Kong cast. What? You couldn't put Funky Kong in this game, even at a limited capacity like you did Diddy? And Donkey Kong is introduced in the story mode, it sets up the surfing. That couldn't be Funky Kong? What are you doing? I know, I wrote off a lot of this game as mediocre and not worth getting upset about, but this agitates me, and it shows.
Well, Rosalina just makes sense, Well, because she has cosmic powers, much like that Silver Surfer character.
It shows me, I think, that they came up with the cast first, and then they kind of sledgehammered them into these different roles, rather than looking at the sports and like, what would be a cool character that we could utilize that would exemplify this sport? Funky Kong was right there. And it just doesn't sit with me that Donkey Kong would represent.
And he was in Mario Kart Wii, so, there's President Mario Nelson.
He's in Mario Kart Tour. He is literally in Tokyo canonically during the events of these Olympic Games, yet he is not competing in the surfing event. Why is that the case? And it wouldn't make sense for Donkey Kong to be, I know he's not representing Donkey Kong Island, but all the same, it wouldn't make sense for him to be surfing when Funky Kong is right there. Well, David, we can just look to the news cycle of these Olympic Games and the IOC's own decisions for an explanation for this. I also brought this up on Twitter. He was suspended for marijuana use.
Even though it's perfectly legal on Donkey Kong Island.
It's perfectly legal on Donkey Kong Island, but like Paul McCartney in 1980, he brought a big bag full of weed with him to Japan, thinking it was gonna be fine. The IOC tested him, and they were like, Funky Kong, your urine or hair samples or whatever, they're just positively reeking with pot. And he's just like, yeah, man, of course, I'm Funky Kong. And they're like, suspended. And he was like, wow. And so he doesn't get to compete in the Olympic Games. He qualified for these exhibitions. He was all set to go. He had his board polished, but all he can do while he's hanging out in Tokyo is Mario Kart touring. He cannot compete. And that is my hard fanon. What is hard fanon? That is fanon that I acknowledge isn't canon, but it is something that DK Vine will stick with for as long as I draw a breath, like prosthetic golfing fingers. That is hard fanon. And so that is why Funky Kong isn't in it. It's the only explanation. And if Funky Kong is never in a Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games summer event where they have surfing, it's because every time he tokes up and they suspend him. And he, you think he would learn his lesson, but he's Funky Kong. He's going to go to Dr. Dank's dispensary. Final thoughts, David.
I don't know. It's all right.
I mean, yeah, that's really what this game is. Like, if you are looking for a fun party game you can play with friends that utilizes the Mario cast and the Donkey Kong cast, or at least Donkey and Diddy Kong for the Switch.
Super Mario Party.
Super Mario Party. It's right there. It basically does a lot of what this game does, but better. If you're looking for a good sports game, Mario Tennis Aces, Mario Golf Super Rush,
NBA 21.
If you're looking for
FIFA.
If you're looking for Mario or Donkey Kong themed sports games, I'm saying. If you're in it for the Sonic the Hedgehog fan service, then sure. I could see this game being a lot of fun for you. If you're in it for the novelty of the Mario and Sonic universes colliding, it's not much of a novelty at this point, but sure. Although I would say Super Smash Bros. Ultimate does it a whole lot better. So I can't really say I would recommend this game unless you really want.
If you like seeing rare characters compete with Sonic the Hedgehog characters, maybe Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing with Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah. So many games just do what this, like, any appeal this game has is outdone by many other games. But if you want to see Donkey Kong fencing or doing karate, I guess Karate Kong gave him lessons. I don't fucking know, but yeah, it's there. It's not the worst game. It's not worth $60, but it's got enough oddities about it. It's got enough curiosities that, I'm going to be pondering some of the greater implications of this for some time to come. And, I don't know. It's not something I'm going to say, I love this game, but I'm not going to rail against it like I did, Mario Party for many, many years. It's not that infuriating, but again, I haven't really given a lot of time to the preceding entries in this series. So I think this is probably just as tired as, Mario Party got in the thick of the GameCube era, but there are positive attributes. So it's definitely worth checking out if you could just check it out without fully buying it.
Maybe if you're living in the one town that still has a Blockbuster.
Is GameFly still a thing? Is that what it was called?
Maybe.
Like the Netflix for games?
Well, then Netflix, they still have DVDs, actually.
They still mail stuff out, right? Like
Yeah. Quickster. Remember when they rebranded as Quickster for like 5 minutes?
Yeah. So anyway, if you have a friend who's got it, play it on their Switch maybe. If you are a completionist like I am, yeah, absolutely buy it. Or get your parents to buy it. Or get Jeff Bezos in a big fake beard and a penis missile to buy it for you. Either way, it's not the greatest DKU game, not the most inspired DKU game, not the best sports DKU game of the last couple of years, but ook, as they say. So what's next? Well,
there's the 2022 Olympics in Beijing.
Beijing, yeah, the Winter Olympics.
So bring the whole series full circle.
And then 2024, David, the Summer Olympics. We only have to wait 3 years, assuming, we don't have even more variants of COVID. 2024, the Summer Olympics are in Paris. And boy, when have things ever gone wrong for Donkey Kong in France?
I know I'm gonna get my butt kicked tonight. I'll be in so much pain I will hardly stand upright. I'm gonna take a thrashing, he's gonna pound me to dust. By the time he's finished pounding, you never recognize me.
This has been a File 2 production.
Que rico.